Hello there. This is where the fun begins.
What's up guys, Unofficial Star Wars here. Hope you're all doing well, and in this video we have a new rumor into the regards of the Tales of the Jedi show over on Disney+. It is set up to receive a second season a little bit later this year. However, there are new rumors circulating around saying that there may be a potential Tales of the Jedi spin-off, something that would be more closely to a Tales of the Sith, or maybe even a Tales of the Bounty Hunters centric type of show or project that could possibly be in the works over at Lucasfilm is exactly what we're going to be discussing in today's video, breaking it all down for you guys, and especially for what this may mean in the near future for a galaxy far, far away. Of course, we're going to go ahead and hop right on into it. Before we do though, however, grab that subscribe button if you haven't already. We're discussing and covering all types of Star Wars related news, leaks, rumors, theories, and breakdowns here on the channel. So if you guys are into any of that, go ahead and grab that subscribe button today and join us here on the channel. So in this video, we are going to be taking a read from StarWarsNewsNet.com. I'll have their article linked in the description down below. They are a very reputable source for when it comes to these types of Star Wars scoops, especially a part of the rumor and leak mill. Now, Star Wars Tales of the Jedi may be receiving company in the animated anthology front, as similar shows about the Sith or bounty hunters may be in the pipeline over at Lucasfilm. During a recent discussion about the first season of the show on the Star Wars Sessions podcast, the host of the program had indicated at the 49-minute mark that they've heard that their listeners should anticipate some additional follow-ups to Tales of the Jedi, the animated show, that fall outside of the existing Jedi-focused format, something that would resemble more closely to covering stories and Tales of the Sith or the Bounty Hunters, as I had mentioned. Now, one of the hosts mentions it's hard to come out and confirm stuff and things, but I think that we're going to be seeing, we're going to be seeing some more Tales of projects, essentially. So I don't think that's ending anytime soon. And the other host responds with, in quotes, again, we've heard tales of something and it ain't Jedi, and it sounds pretty cool. And if that comes to fruition, I think that people are going to lose their minds. If it is what we've heard, but conjecture or speculation aside, if we get a Tales of the Jedi Season 2, I hope we get meaningful little vigents like we got in the Dooku one, ending that quote right there. Now, by no means is it necessarily like a very credible source from these podcasters, essentially StarWarsNewsNet.com covering this overall. Is it a very credible source? No, not really. Take this all with a very much grain of salt. Really at that, honestly, I wouldn't, anticipate or anything. And even at that credibility level, one of the hosts mentions, like, if we get a Tales of the Jedi Season 2, and I'm kind of sitting here like, what do you mean if? It's confirmed that we are getting a Tales of the Jedi Season 2. That was something that was officially announced and confirmed at Star Wars Celebration last year of 2023, and that it would be coming out sometime this year, 2024. So they sound a bit uncertain, like, as of for what would remain in the future of this, like, anthology kind of format here. But nonetheless, I still want to take it with a grain of salt and kind of hold out that hopefulness, because I think it is a very cool idea and something that even I have discussed here on the channel before of like, hey, what if we got a Tales of the Jedi but for Sith? But then also adding in this other idea of like, okay, other characters like bounty hunters, I think is a whole nother like thing to take on. Now, the article continues on by reading that while initially playing coy about that Tales of something else was, Matt Hudson, one of the podcast hosts, was potentially a little bit more transparent about what these follow-up projects might be around at the 1 hour and 18-minute mark, while making predictions about the future at the same time. He had said that, in quotes, I predict that the Tales of series is going to get a new installment, whether it's a Tales of the Sith or Tales of the Bounty Hunters or something to shake it up a little bit. And I think that we're going to get something new, because it could get a little stale if it's just Jedi, of by which the other host had, responded with, in quote, is that a prediction or is that a scoop? And the other one replies with, it's a prediction, but laughing at the same time. And he says, okay, all right. And then he responds with, a new series, Tales of something, will get a new iteration. They're going to announce something new about that one. I need that quote right there. Part of the idea that I don't understand though, however, when it comes to scoops and leaks about this is like, why not just come out and just say it? Like, why beat around the bush kind of with this kind of idea? It's not like these guys work for Star Wars or for Lucasfilm or anything like that. Why not just say that, oh, I've heard that there could be a Sith Tales of the Jedi or a Sith Tales of Bounty Hunters or something along those lines, essentially. Like, why not just come out and say it? But instead they kind of just toy around and play with the idea. No, that's no shade to these guys by any means. I know I feel like I might be kind of picking picking on these guys a little bit. By any means, I'm not trying to do so. But as it stands, the discussion is admittedly really about productions. But the earlier discussion, combined with the playful back and forth between the two hosts, possibly suggests that something more could be at play here. The first season of Tales of the Jedi utilized a similar animation style to the 7th and final season of Star Wars: The Clone Wars, and fittingly kept its focus on two characters, prominently included throughout that series. The first was Ahsoka, of course, which explored narratives about her life before, during, and after the Great Purge, or Order 66, and the second amount of episodes was about Count Dooku, exploring his time as a master to Qui-Gon Jinn, and a member of the Jedi Council even, showcasing disillusionment with the Republic and the Jedi Order as institutions, which led to him defecting and becoming Darth Sidious's apprentice, of how he fell to the dark side of the Force. A beautifully told story. Last year, as a surprise announcement though, for a panel conforming the 15th anniversary of the Clone Wars at Star Wars Celebration Europe, Dave Filoni confirmed that a second season was in development of Tales of the Jedi, though he didn't specify which Jedi would take center stage around this time for the second season, like what those episodes would be about, which characters they would be about, or even when those episodes would take place in the Star Wars timeline. Like, they could be about the sequels or the original trilogy, or they could be about the prequels once again. And then also, as I had mentioned, it is slated to come out sometime in 2024. My prediction is that it's going to be coming out sometime closer to the fall, seeing that there's kind of like an empty strand right there, like we're not getting anything new in the fall of this year for Star Wars content, so that would be a perfect spot to have it come out. Currently, there's no concrete plans for the future of the Star Wars animation past the already confirmed second season of Tales of the Jedi and the third and final season of the Star Wars The Bad Batch, so maybe it would make sense that Disney or Lucasfilm would be on the prowl for coming up with new animated projects, shows, or whatever the case may be, to kind of keep that animation spirit alive, because that is like a whole nother factor, another like community, or almost like a whole nother fandom to the Star Wars community as a whole, as it already stands. Like, so many people are like centric fans of the Star Wars animation, that's how much they love it. Also, with the whole other idea of that they're able to tell so many other stories with Star Wars animation, like, it would be really difficult to make a Tales of the Jedi show, I feel like, especially in live action, and coming up with that kind of how they would even do that, I feel like would just be difficult. Same thing applies for the Bad Batch easily for that there as well. Like, those are just projects or shows that would be very difficult to tell those stories through live action. So it makes sense that Star Wars animation should stay around. So what other ideas that they might have in play here is something that remains up in the air for the time being. Now, it has been assumed that more Star Wars Visions episodes will also be developed for a Star Wars Visions Volume 3, but given that those involve outside studios and not are specifically like centered around Lucasfilm, that would leave the workload for Lucasfilm's animation division relevantly light. Without a new form of long animated series to take place, as far as we're aware of, it's possible that Lucasfilm opts to explore a multitude of other characters in this short form format for the time being. Like, essentially just having these three different tales of, you know, whatever, essentially shows going kind of, you know, at the same time. Not releasing new episodes at the same time probably, but, you know, having those kind of be the new centric thing for Star Wars animation, essentially, until maybe they come up with another Star Wars animation project. I think that's something of a great idea, would be to have a Star Wars animation project that was centered around the sequels. I know, as controversial as they are, I think that a Star Wars sequels animated show could do the same thing that the Clone Wars did for the prequels. In a way, an animated sequels project could help, in a way, fix what was left of the sequels, essentially. But anyway, guys, this year all being said, take it with a grain of salt, as I had mentioned. Let me know what you guys are all thinking in the comments down below. What do you want to see with the future of Star Wars animation, for one? What do you want to see with the future of Star Wars Tales of the Jedi, Tales of the Sith, and Tales of the Bounty Hunter, if those ever do come to fruition? As I had mentioned, take it with a grain of salt. I would love to hear what you guys are all thinking in the comments down below. Thanks so much for watching today's video. Of course, this has been Unofficial Star Wars. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Have a great one. May the Force be with you as always. Peace out.